One app, 1 billion users, zero apologies. In less than 5 years, a company most Americans had never heard of became the most downloaded app on Earth. It rewired how an entire generation thinks, shops, votes, and falls in love. It made musicians famous overnight. It destroyed careers in 24 hours. It turned teenagers into millionaires and millionaires into irrelevant. And the entire time it was doing this, governments were screaming, CEOs were panicking, and nobody could figure out how to stop it. Here's the terrifying part. TikTok wasn't supposed to win. It wasn't the biggest, it wasn't the richest, it wasn't even the first. And it absolutely definitely should not have beaten Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and the entire American tech industry simultaneously in their own backyard. But it did. This is how a Chinese startup conquered the internet, and why the people trying to stop it might already be too late.
Here's the question nobody asks correctly. Most people look at TikTok and say, why is it so addictive? Wrong question. Every app tries to be addictive. Instagram tried, YouTube tried, Snapchat literally hired brain scientists. They all read the same books on behavioral psychology. They all built the same notification systems. They all wanted your attention. The real question is, why did TikTok succeed where everyone else failed? And the answer isn't what you think. It wasn't the dancing, it wasn't the lip syncing, it wasn't even the algorithm. Not exactly. It was something much deeper, something invisible. It was a fundamental rethinking of what a social media platform is for. And once you understand that, you'll never look at your phone the same way again.
Let's go back. 2010, Facebook is king. Mark Zuckerberg is on magazine covers. Everyone's uploading photos of their lunch and pretending their life is perfect. The formula is simple. Connect people to people they already know. Your feed is curated by your friends. Your popularity is measured by how many friends you have. The whole system is built on your existing social graph. It worked brilliantly for Facebook. Then Instagram shows up and says, what if it was prettier? Same idea. Follow people you know, follow celebrities, follow brands. Still built on the social graph, still based on who you are and who you know. Snapchat shows up and says, what if it disappeared? Cool. Teenagers loved it, but still, fundamentally, a network of relationships. YouTube, a library. You search for something, you find it, you watch it. Very logical, very rational, very 2005. Every single one of these platforms shared the same underlying assumption. The user knows what they want. They follow people, they search for things, they curate their own experience. Makes sense, right? Now enter Zhang Yiming, a software engineer. Quiet guy. Started a company in Beijing in 2012. His first product was a news aggregator called Taotiao, basically a smarter news feed that used algorithms to figure out what you wanted to read before you knew you wanted to read it. Sir, are you saying the algorithm knows better than the user? Yes, exactly. That sounds insane. Yes, but it might make us rich. Taotiao became the most used news app in China. Zhang Yiming's insight was simple but explosive. People don't actually know what they want until they see it. Give a person a blank search bar and they'll type something boring. Give a person an endless stream of content curated by a machine that's watching their every micro-behavior, how long they pause, when they rewatch, what they skip, and you unlock something terrifying. You unlock desire they didn't know they had. In 2016, Zhang Yiming's company ByteDance launched a short video app in China called Douyin. It was everything Taotiao had learned about algorithmic content applied to video. The results were insane. Within a year, Douyin had 100 million users in China. Zhang Yiming looked at that number, looked at the rest of the world, and thought, what if we went global? Here's where it gets interesting. ByteDance launched TikTok, Douyin's international twin, in 2017, but nobody cared. So in 2018, they did something that changed everything. They bought Musical.ly. Musical.ly was an American app, lip-syncing videos, mostly teenagers, about 200 million users. You've probably never heard of it. Doesn't matter. What mattered is the users. ByteDance absorbed Musical.ly's entire user base into TikTok overnight. Suddenly, TikTok had 200 million users, mostly in the US and Europe, and a library of content. But here's the thing everyone missed. TikTok didn't just bring Musical.ly's users to a new app. TikTok brought a fundamentally different idea of what social media is. On Instagram, if you have 0 followers, you see nothing. You're invisible. You post into a void. The system ignores you until you've built an audience. On TikTok, a nobody in Nebraska with no followers, no friends, no connections posts a video on a Tuesday afternoon. By Wednesday morning, 2 million views. That's not a bug. That's the whole point. TikTok doesn't care who you know. TikTok doesn't care how long you've been on the platform. TikTok's algorithm doesn't look at your social graph. It looks at your content. Is it interesting? Does it make people watch? Do they rewatch it? Do they share it? Does it make people stop scrolling at 2 a.m. when their eyes are barely open? If yes, congratulations, you're famous now. This is the thing that broke the internet. Every other platform was built like a country club. You needed connections to get in. You needed to know people. You needed to already be someone. TikTok was built like a casino. Anyone could walk in. Anyone could win. And the machine decided who wins, not the social hierarchy. That sounds great, until you realize the machine has no morality. Let's talk about the algorithm. Because TikTok's algorithm is really good is like saying a nuclear reactor is really warm. Technically accurate, massively underselling it. Other platforms use what's called a collaborative filter. Basically, people who liked what you liked also liked this, so you'll probably like this too. It's Netflix recommending movies. It's Amazon saying customers also bought. It works fine. TikTok uses something different, something closer to pure reinforcement learning. Every single interaction you have, every pause, every replay, every swipe, every share, every second of watch time is fed back into a model that is constantly updating its picture of you. Not who you think you are, not who you pretend to be, who you actually are at 11:47 p.m. when nobody's watching. Within 35 minutes of downloading TikTok, the algorithm knows things about you that your friends don't. Within a day, it knows things you don't know about yourself.
That's not hyperbole. Researchers have tested it, and here's the terrifying escalation. This isn't just about entertainment anymore. TikTok's algorithm started influencing elections. Politicians learned that short, punchy, emotionally charged videos performed better than policy. Whole political movements across every ideology were born on TikTok. Misinformation spread faster than any fact check could catch it. It started influencing the economy. TikTok made me buy it became a real phenomenon. Products would appear in a video, go viral, and sell out across the country within 48 hours. Small businesses were built and destroyed by a single algorithm decision they had no control over. It started influencing mental health at a scale we're only beginning to understand. Body image, anxiety, depression, the endless scroll, the dopamine loop. One app, rewiring civilization. Brilliant strategy, really. And here's where it gets political.
In 2019, American politicians started asking a question, a very uncomfortable question. ByteDance is a Chinese company. TikTok is ByteDance. TikTok has 150 million American users. TikTok can see what those users watch, search, share, and feel. So, who has access to that data? ByteDance said, "Don't worry. American user data is stored in America." U.S. intelligence said, "Are you sure about that?" ByteDance said, "Yes, absolutely. Trust us." U.S. intelligence said, "We don't." And then it got weird. Under Chinese law, specifically the 2017 National Intelligence Law, any Chinese company is legally required to cooperate with Chinese intelligence services when asked. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's the law. You can look it up. Now, does that mean ByteDance was actively handing American data to Beijing? Not proven, not confirmed. But the possibility, the legal requirement to do so if asked, was enough to send Washington into a spiral. Think about what TikTok actually knows. It knows what 150 million Americans watch when they can't sleep. It knows what makes them angry. It knows what political content spreads fastest. It knows the faces, voices, and locations of millions of people who've gone live on the app. This isn't just data. This is a map of American psychology. In the wrong hands? Like owning a manual to every vulnerability in the most powerful country on earth. The US government tried to ban TikTok in 2020. Trump signed an executive order. Courts blocked it. Biden took office. The process started over. Congress got involved, hearings were held. TikTok CEO Xiaozi Chu sat in front of Congress for 5 hours while senators asked questions that revealed they didn't quite understand how the internet works. Is TikTok connected to Wi-Fi? Sir? The ban passed Congress in 2024. TikTok went dark for about 12 hours in January 2025. Then it came back. Because, and here's the ultimate irony, 170 million Americans had become so dependent on TikTok that banning it caused a political crisis. The algorithm had made itself too big to ban. Step back, because this story isn't really about TikTok. It's about something bigger. For 20 years, America dominated the internet. Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft. American companies built the digital world. American companies wrote the rules. Silicon Valley was the only capital that mattered in the technology universe. And then a company from Beijing with a different philosophy, a different approach, a different understanding of what human attention is, walked into that world and won. Not by cheating, not by hacking. By being better at something America didn't realize was a competition. What does that mean? It means the assumption that American tech supremacy was permanent, was wrong. It means the algorithm is now a geopolitical weapon. It means that whoever controls the feed controls the culture, and whoever controls the culture controls what feels true. TikTok didn't just take market share, it took mind share. And here's the deepest question of all. What happens when the platform that shapes how a generation thinks, their politics, their identities, their understanding of the world, is owned by a government with fundamentally different values? Is that propaganda? Is that just business?
Is there a difference anymore? We used to think of borders as lines on a map. But information has no borders. Algorithms have no passports. Influence moves at the speed of a recommendation engine.